Tonight on the world's most amazing videos. A giant rocket suddenly explodes, raining 250 tons of fiery debris down from the sky. Plus, a massive mudslide sends a house smashing into 1,000,000 pieces. And hundreds of terrified people are trapped in a burning high-rise. Their only hope for escape, a makeshift ladder 12 stories up. Then, a fisherman reels in a killer shark. Now he's the catch of the day. And a pilot bails out just seconds before his fighter jet slams into the ground. How could he possibly survive? These are the incredible true life stories of people who face their most desperate hour and live to tell about it. Everything you are about to see is real. Real people, real danger, real excitement. Get ready to experience the thrill of a lifetime. You are about to witness the world's most amazing videos.
Lancaster, California. 2 burglary suspects in a stolen pickup truck are leading police on a dangerous high-speed chase. A news reporter covers the pursuit from above.
Oh no, it looks like he's going into that residential neighborhood. This is not good, and we'll see what happens here. This is very dangerous. We can see children actually out on the front lawn of that home he just went by. Okay, he's coming up to a very crowded intersection here.
The suspect tries to maneuver through an intersection, but then he collides with an innocent motorist. The police close in.
Okay, the guy looks like he's trying to make a left turn here. Oh, they hit him. He spins out, he keeps going though.
Suddenly, the driver makes a wild right turn onto a dirt road.
And he goes, oh, he keeps going. No, he hits the pole,
The suspect's truck gets caught on a support cable. The passenger panics and jumps out. But when the vehicle pulls free, he leaps into the back of the truck. Now he's determined to get back inside.
He's standing up. This is going to be pretty dangerous here. And it looks like he's trying to... Oh, he climbs back into the cab of the truck. Unbelievable.
When somebody doesn't have any regard for their own safety, that tells you, you know, all bets are going to be off, and you're going to have to do what it takes to protect yourself and try and protect the citizens as best you can.
We're coming up to Avenue D here. We'll see what happens.
A tire blows out, but that doesn't stop this deranged driver.
And the left tire is flat. He keeps going. Even with a flat tire, he keeps going.
Sparks fly as the truck speeds along on its tire rim. The cops move in to end the chase.
This might be, they're trying to stop it. He hits it, but he fishtails and keeps on going. Highway Patrol hits the back of the vehicle. Oh, and now the rubber came off. They're going to hit him again. He's now going sideways. He's driving sideways down the road.
The driver is trapped inside the truck, but the passenger makes a run for it. Deputy Eric Rubel chases him on foot.
Now we're in a foot pursuit, and the ball game has changed. Foot pursuits are inherently dangerous as vehicle pursuits. A lot of officers have been killed chasing suspects. I cleared the first wall and continued to chase after him. We came to a second wall. Once I see that he had cleared that wall and he again was still in flight, I then jumped that second wall.
They're right behind him.
Finally, the suspect is captured.
That was a wild chase.
You're excited because you did your job, no one got injured, and we got some bad guys who needed to go to jail.
These criminals learn their lesson the hard way. You can't outrun the law. Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Jimmy D'Ambra and his buddies are on a weekend fishing trip. They're using a tuna head as bait, but the big ones don't seem to be biting.
Oh, well, too small.
Now it's Jimmy's turn to take the rod and reel. His friends help him strap on a harness. He's attached to the fishing pole, so he'll have both hands free to reel in a huge fish. Jimmy quickly gets a bite, starts working hard to pull it in.
He's been reeling this in for the past quarter of a mile.
With that easy bait catch.
To everyone's surprise, it's an enormous blue shark. Jimmy's going to need some help to pull this one in.
Here he goes.
But just when it looks like the catch is secured in the trap beneath the boat, the shark fights back. Jimmy plunges into the water, still hooked to the deadly man-eater.
Well, as soon as I felt my feet leaving the boat, I thought that I was going to die.
Jimmy's friends watch helplessly as he's pulled underwater by the shark.
And it felt like there was a truck dragging me to the bottom.
Somehow, Jimmy is able to struggle his way back to the boat.
I thought, oh, God saved me. I can't believe I'm getting a second shot. So I swam as fast as I could to the top.
But on the way up, he collides with the bloody tuna head. Now he's in danger of being attacked.
And now I'm thinking I'm going to get eaten alive because I'm right next to this bait.
Within seconds, a whole school of sharks is circling the boat, and they smell blood. Jimmy's friends desperately try to pull him in before he's ripped apart.
And then the sharks started pulling me down again. And they're trying to hold on to me, and I'm trying to keep my legs high in the water because I know they're swimming around me.
The men finally drag Jimmy aboard and unhook the fishing rod.
I was saying to myself, I can't believe it. Thank you, Lord. I thought I'd never see this boat again. And I just laid there for a few seconds, just thinking, is this real? Am I really back?
Slowly, he gets to his feet. Then, Jimmy picks up his fishing rod and finishes what he started, reeling in the shark that nearly took his life.
So when I finally got the shark to the boat, the captain asked me, what do you want to do with him? And I said, let him go. And he said, are you kidding? If that happened to me, I'd stuff that thing and hang him on my wall. And I said, no, let him go.
So Jimmy cuts him loose, making this one time both the fish and the fishermen manage to get away. Moscow, Russia. A daredevil rigs his car with dynamite so it will blow up later during his stunt show. But as he steps away from his vehicle, it suddenly explodes into a monstrous fireball. The stuntman is caught off guard and nearly killed by the blast. From another angle, we can see that the explosion occurs in the middle of the track, also threatening the lives of the other drivers. Miraculously, no one is injured. Longview, Texas. Heavy rains caused massive flash floods that raged through the city streets. Quickly rising waters engulf a car, making its roof rack barely visible above the surface of the water. A passerby manages to rescue the driver, Glenda Glasscock, but she has horrifying news. Her passenger, a young mother, Rebecca Crocher, is still trapped in an air pocket inside the vehicle, clinging to her 18-month-old baby, Amy Lee.
Rebecca was screaming, oh God, don't take my baby. Oh God, don't take my baby. And she was literally holding Amy Lee up in her arms above the water. And her way of thinking was, my baby's gonna be rescued even if I'm not.
When firefighters arrive, Scott Dooling and Rick Henry, who work at a nearby tire store, are frantically trying to save the terrified woman and her child. Working from the roof of the submerged vehicle, the men struggle to reach Rebecca and Amy Lee, not knowing if they are still alive.
Someone came running through the store screaming, that the car was submerged, someone's drowning, and called 911. When I ran out and looked over the guardrail, I just didn't see any chance of survival, to be honest with you.
Nothing in firefighter Russell Galloway's training could have prepared him for this moment.
I hadn't been with the fire department probably 5 years at that point, and I had never seen a vehicle underwater like that.
As the water level rises higher and higher, the situation begins to look hopeless.
I was sitting on the back of the car while Rick was going in. He came up one time with a teddy bear. And at this point, we didn't think, things looked very good for him.
But Rick refuses to give up. He dives down one more time and pries open the vehicle's door. Incredibly, Rebecca emerges alive. But what about her baby?
We saw the victims pop up, and they popped up like a couple of corks.
Russell calls out for help. But as he cradles the child, he realizes she's okay.
The first thing I noticed was the baby was not crying. It looked bewildered, but aside from that, it appeared to be perfectly okay. Well, that was a real relief.
Mother and daughter are reunited, safe at last. Watching from nearby, Glenda is thankful for the heroic efforts of the firefighters and the courage of Scott and Rick.
I just didn't think I would be able to live if they weren't rescued too. And I just know that God saw to it that we could all be rescued.
Coming up.
We have ignition.
A rocket explodes on takeoff, sending tons of burning debris crashing to the ground. Plus, a raging riot between protesters and police takes a sudden turn for the worse. Then later, a stunt goes wrong, sending a terrified daredevil slamming into the ocean. When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Cape Canaveral, Florida. An unmanned Delta rocket carrying a $45 million military satellite is about to blast off.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. We have ignition and liftoff from Cape Canaveral Air Station of the Air Force Delta II launch vehicle carrying the new GPS-2R satellite.
Then, just seconds into the mission, an explosion rocks the Cape.
We just had an anomaly of the Delta II launch vehicle from Cape Canaveral Air Station. We need to secure the area.
More than 250 tons of flaming debris and rocket fuel rain down from the sky. The explosion occurs so close to the ground that the area around the launch pad looks like a war zone. A piece of the rocket lands in the parking lot, creating an enormous crater. More than 24 cars are destroyed by the blast. The heat of the explosion is so intense it melts their windshields and tire rims. Amazingly, no one is injured. Investigators later determined that a 17-foot-long crack in one of the rocket's boosters was the cause of this devastating accident. San Francisco, California. A torrential rainstorm pounds the city, causing a century-old sewer pipe to burst in the middle of the night. The gushing water has created a mammoth sinkhole and left a 3-story home hanging precariously over the edge. During the night, the rain lets up, but the damage has already been done. Large sections of the house begin to break away. The next morning, as the giant crater spreads, residents of nearby homes are ordered to evacuate. They race to save their belongings, not knowing if they'll ever be able to return home again. And suddenly, the ground begins to shift. And then, all hell breaks loose. In a matter of seconds, the house tumbles and collapses into the hole. Iran Billman looks on in horrified disbelief as a lifetime of memories disappears before her eyes.
All my belongings of 35 years. That pile that you see is in there.
Thankfully, no lives are lost in this heartbreaking disaster. But these images are a lasting reminder that there is no safe refuge from the awesome power of nature. Guatemala City. A tense standoff with a convicted murderer could explode at any moment. The suspect, seen here in the sunglasses, has just escaped from the local courthouse. Somehow, he's been able to get his hands on a live grenade. He's taken 2 court clerks hostage and tied them together with rope. The man tells police that if they don't provide him with a car to cross the border, he'll blow himself up, along with his helpless victims. The officers don't know it, but the kidnapper has already pulled the pin on the grenade. He clings tightly to his female hostage. She's terrified that she could die at any moment. Hours pass as police negotiators try to convince the man to surrender, but he grows more and more impatient. The kidnapper shows he means business by banging his weapon against the cement wall. It's an agonizing ordeal for the hostages. The suspect has already been convicted of murder, so he has nothing to lose by killing again. Sharpshooters have the man in their sights, but they dare not pull the trigger. If they shoot, the grenade will explode, killing the hostages. Enraged that his demands are not being met, the kidnapper shoves his hostages into the street. He threatens to detonate his weapon. Friends and relatives watch in horror as the man presses the grenade against the woman's throat.
Entonces, señores, pidan el carro o aquí asesino a estas personas. Ya es cosa de ustedes o usen sus armas.
Police negotiators have no choice but to provide a car and driver for the deranged man. After traveling through the night to the border, the kidnapper agrees to release one of his captives, but he demands a gun in return. The police are reluctant to arm the man with yet another weapon, but they finally agree. The kidnapper releases his male hostage, but instead of running, the man hesitates. He doesn't want to leave the woman behind. Now, there's no telling how this tense situation will end. But the cops have a plan. One of the officers approaches the vehicle and offers the man a handgun, but he doesn't let go. Meanwhile, another officer sneaks around to the other side of the car. While the suspect is distracted, the officer makes a grab for the female hostage. By the time the man turns around, it's too late. The woman's nightmare is over, and the kidnapper is taken down.
Next up, hundreds are trapped in a blazing high-rise, and there's no way out. Plus, it's terror at the track when a racehorse bolts out of control and charges into the crowd. Then later, a fighter jet slams into the ground. Could the pilot possibly survive? Find out when the world's most amazing videos continues.
New Delhi, India. An electrical fire turns an office building into a blazing 12-story inferno. There are no sprinklers, and the fire escapes are blocked. Hundreds of terrified workers have no choice but to climb up to the roof and wait to be rescued. An Air Force helicopter arrives to pull the panicked people from the burning building. The chopper's blades only fan the flames, and the rescue is called off. Meanwhile, the victims who are still trapped inside frantically plead for help. Firefighters spray them with water in a desperate attempt to hold back the searing heat. Workers from a nearby construction site use their crane in an attempt to reach the 6th floor window, but they come up short. Now the entire floor is engulfed in flames, and the victims are forced out onto the window ledge. A fire truck with a high-rise ladder finally arrives. Firefighters fear that the victims will lose hope and jump. Time is of the essence, so the rescuers quickly extend the ladder. It barely reaches. The victims manage to climb down to safety. But those on the roof are still fighting for their lives. The firefighters can't get to the rooftop, so the construction workers mount another rescue attempt. They rig a makeshift bridge out of rope and bamboo and stretch it across the street to the building. With fire quickly racing to the top floor, the terrified victims slowly make their way across the unstable structure. At 120 feet in the air, one misstep could spell disaster. One by one, the trembling office workers crawl across the bridge, knowing it could collapse at any moment. But incredibly, it holds. More than 300 people make it out safely and are tearfully reunited with their loved ones. Derbyshire, England. Just before the start of a race, a horse panics and bolts out of the gate.
We have a problem here that one of the horses has burst out from stall 10.
The saddle slips, causing the horse excruciating pain.
Stay as still as you can.
It smashes through the rail and heads straight for a baby carriage. Watch again. The runaway racehorse tramples the carriage with a baby inside. Then it knocks down the child's father and grandmother.
Might be coming into the betting area.
The crazed animal bucks and gallops into the frightened crowd as the announcer tries to maintain order.
Please do keep calm and don't run. My sight might be coming into the betting area.
The rampage finally ends when several spectators surround the horse and manage to rein it in.
I do believe that the horse is now being caught.
The baby's mother witnesses the brutal attack and rushes to the scene.
I stood there in shock and then looked again and realised it was my pram, and then I just went running out screaming.
She arrives to find that the carriage has been destroyed. But amazingly, her baby is unharmed. A tragedy has been averted, making this a truly lucky day at the track. Forest City, Arkansas. State patrol officers have stopped the driver of this car for speeding. But Officer Jackie Clark has reason to believe that the suspect may be guilty of more than just a traffic violation.
This guy was pretty nervous, so I asked him if I could search his car. At that time, he gave me consent and said he had no problem at all.
Inside the trunk, the officers find a large suitcase, but there's more.
There it was in the garbage bag, about 12 to 15 pounds of marijuana.
Although he's in serious trouble, the driver is surprisingly calm, but not for long.
Once they're arrested, they're handcuffed, and they're all alone in the backseat of a police car, reality sinks in.
And that's exactly what happens when the suspect is put inside the patrol car.
Oh, I can't believe it! Oh, no! No! No!
While officers continue to search for more drugs, the man becomes even more hysterical.
Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Help me! Help me, God! Help me! Oh, my God! Oh, oh, no! Please, no! No, no, please, no! No, please, God almighty! No, please! Please, no! Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God.
What was that?
You hollered late? No, sir, I'm just freaked out. I can't believe this happened.
I can't believe that he doesn't shatter the windows or something. It's just outrageous.
Help me, God! Help me!
When the man finally calms down, he's taken in and booked for possession of a controlled substance.
Up next, a crazed gunman takes dead aim at the police. Then, later, a tragic mistake sends a terrified stuntman slamming into the water at 80 miles an hour. Plus, police are plunged into the middle of a violent riot. When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Seoul, South Korea. A political feud between rival factions has turned these normally peace-loving monks into bitter enemies. New leaders have just been elected, but the losing side is not about to give up without a fight. Wearing masks to conceal their identities, the rebel monks storm a temple and throw out the new regime. Riot police are called in to put an end to the rebellion. But the militant monks vow to fight on. Now 80 rebels are holed up inside, ready to take on 2,000 police officers. But the tide turns against the barricaded men when the police mount a sneak attack. This construction cart carries a heavily armed SWAT team to the top of the building, but it can't withstand their weight. Then, without warning, the unimaginable. Watch again. No one escapes the terrible fall. The officers are severely injured, but fortunately, they survive. As the riot rages into the night, police begin to take control of the temple, floor by floor. Their final obstacle is one monk's act of defiance. The man is prepared to sacrifice his life for his beliefs. He raises his dagger to stab himself one last time, when suddenly his fellow monks grab him and pry the weapon from his hand. When the siege is finally over, the rightful leaders are returned to power, and the rebellious monks are thrown in jail. Normandy, France. Television cameras are on hand to capture a death-defying stunt. Daredevil Jean-Louis Arola is about to attempt a dangerous mid-air plunge into the frigid waters of the English Channel. The risky maneuver calls for him to drop from the plane as it speeds above the surface of the water. Jean-Louis carefully climbs out and secures himself to the belly of the fuselage. The aircraft approaches the drop zone. Then, he releases his harness. But something goes wrong. He slams across the surface of the water. And now, he's not moving. Another look at the ill-fated stunt reveals that the plane was traveling much too fast. Jean-Louis drops from the aircraft at more than 80 miles an hour. Hitting the water at this speed is like smashing into concrete. A rescue team quickly moves in and soon has Jean-Louis safely out of the water. No one could believe that he survived. But he did. Great Neck, Long Island. A deranged gunman, Andrew Brooks, goes on a killing spree. Now he's holding an elderly couple hostage in their own home.
Well, the situation we were dealing with, we had an individual here who had killed 5 people, and he had been firing at the police officers randomly throughout the day.
After hours of tense negotiations, the suspect releases his terrified hostages. But he's still heavily armed and barricaded on the second floor of the couple's home. If the officers storm the house, they'll be in great danger of being shot by the crazed man. So rather than putting human lives on the line, police decide to employ their secret weapon, an armor-plated robot. It's equipped with a video camera and a two-way intercom. This allows police to see and hear everything inside the house from a safe distance.
I tend to call it one-upmanship.
Andy, this is the police, Andy.
You know, you're a man, I'm a man, you've got a gun, I've got a gun, I've got a robot, well, maybe we can talk about this.
As the robot enters the house, police see these images from its video camera.
We were going in strictly to find this individual and to negotiate.
The robot's gonna start coming up the stairs.
As the mechanical cop moves up the staircase, a police negotiator calls out from the intercom inside the robot.
Andy, I can stop the robot anytime. Just come to the top of the stairs. The robot's not gonna hurt you. Okay? We're controlling the robot. All I want you to do is go to the top of the stairs, and I'll tell you how to get out of the house.
The suspect doesn't respond. The robot keeps climbing. But just as it reaches the top of the stairs, a shot rings out.
I can hear you.
The camera turns 180 degrees, bringing police face to face with the killer.
Andy, answer me. I can hear you. Answer me. You shot my robot. Look, the time is now. We've been doing this all day long, Andy. There's a lot of people out here. The time is now. You're not going to get hurt. I guarantee you. Just put the gun down.
The suspect appears disoriented. Instead of surrendering, he takes aim and attempts to disable the robot. It shakes off the bullet. Once again, it discovers the killer directly in its path. The robot advances and backs the gunman into a corner. killer fires again from point-blank range. Then, in a final attempt to stop it, the killer points his rifle at the robot's power cord. The bullet hits its mark.
The robot had lost its mobility, and we had lost sound.
But the camera is still working and manages to record the suspect taking one final shot. Moments later, police move in. But rather than give himself up, the desperate killer takes his own life. Clearly, if an officer had climbed these stairs instead of the robot, he would have found himself staring down the barrel of a loaded gun.
Coming up, a fireman tries to rescue a frightened cat and is jolted by 12,000 volts of electricity. And a killer croc launches a surprise attack, locking a trainer in its deadly jaws. Plus, a Russian fighter jet nosedives into the ground. How could the pilot possibly survive? Find out when the world's most amazing videos continues.
Each day, firefighters risk their lives battling blazes and carrying out life-saving rescue. But even the most mundane missions can suddenly turn dangerous. Fridley, Minnesota, a helpless cat is stranded on top of a power pole. The frightened feline refuses to budge, leaving its owner no choice but to call the fire department for help. Firemen extend a ladder, hoping the cat will crawl down, but it's too scared to move. So firefighter Steve Johnson decides to climb up and rescue the cat himself. He kneels carefully at the end of the ladder and reaches for the trembling cat. But then, Steve's hand accidentally touches the power line. The electrical surge hurls the cat off the pole and sends 12,000 volts coursing through his body. The cat is safe on the ground, but Steve hangs lifeless from the ladder. Fellow firefighters climb up and find him unconscious, but still breathing. Steve is quickly carried down and rushed to a nearby hospital, where he is given emergency treatment. Another look shows just how lucky he is to be alive. You can actually see the electrical charge pass through his body as he touches the power line. Steve recovers from his injuries. But this video is dramatic proof that for firefighters, there's no such thing as a routine rescue. Queensland, Australia. Handlers at the Billabong Wildlife Park are trying to remove this 6-foot female crocodile from her enclosure. But she doesn't want to cooperate. The mother crocodile is trying to protect her eggs. Eggs that must be placed in an incubator to ensure their survival. But when Charlie Finn tries to tie a rope around the croc's powerful jaws, she strikes back.
What's the other?
The reptile clamps down on his hand and goes into a violent death roll. Mercifully, the crocodile releases her grip and Charlie is able to pull his arm free.
What's the arm, down?
Charlie suffers severe puncture wounds to his hand and the bones in his forearm are shattered. He's lucky to get out alive. Paris, France. It's opening day at the world's largest air show. Dozens of top pilots take to the sky and thrill spectators with an up-close look at some of the fastest and fiercest fighter planes ever built. The most lethal tactical jet of them all is Russia's infamous MiG-29. pilot Anatoly Kavoshur amazes the crowd with his death-defying maneuvers. His grand finale begins with a low-level pass across the field. He throttles down to a dangerously slow 111 miles per hour and dips to barely 300 feet above the crowd. Then Anatoly points the jet skyward, but as he powers up to gain speed, there's a flame out in the right engine. He tries to steer away from the spectators, but suddenly the plane veers sharply and plummets to the ground.
I assumed it had to be fatal, and from where I was, it looked as though plane, pilot, and fireball were at the same place.
You can see that the trouble starts here, when a flame shoots out of the right exhaust. It happens when a bird is sucked into the MiG's engine.
Within a fraction of a second, I realized that the aircraft was going to crash.
At such a low altitude, Anatoly has no time to recover. The jet slams into the ground at more than 250 miles an hour. It is difficult to believe that anyone could escape such a horrifying crash. But watch again. At the last possible second, Anatoly's ejection seat rockets him out of the plane. Now he's just 200 feet from the ground, with barely enough time for his chute to deploy. He lands hard, less than 2 seconds after ejecting, dangerously close to the fiery wreckage. Rescuers pull Anatoly from the crash site. Incredibly, he's still alive. Just 24 hours later, he appears at a press conference, suffering nothing more than a black eye.
Not many expected the pilot to survive in this one, getting out as late as he did. I think a less experienced pilot would have died.
If you have an amazing video, then we want to hear from you. Just send it to World's Most Amazing Videos, Post Office Box 933026, Los Angeles, California, 90093. If we use it, there's a cash reward waiting for you. So send your amazing videos today.
The World's Most Amazing Videos will return. Next on The World's Most Amazing Videos, a race car bursts into flames and careens out of control. A rodeo rider hangs on for dear life as he's dragged by a bucking bronco. Brazen bandits storm a jewelry store armed with razor-sharp machetes. And a deranged driver smashes 15 cars and leads police on a high-speed chase. Next time on The World's Most Amazing Videos.